Hey, let me show you something. Come on. Come on. Here, have a look at this. Right here. All right, welcome back. Episode 114 of Chaotically Intolerant. Curtis is back. Big week for the AFC South again. This AFC South is going to be something to watch.
Oh yeah, we're about as hot and cold as Katy Perry in 2005. It is pretty ridiculous. Everybody in this division is the epitome of the phrase Jekyll and Hyde, because it's such a week-to-week basis on what team is trotting out on the field.
I feel like the two teams that were not expected to do anything are the least Jekyll and Hyde. I feel like the Colts and the Texans, you can expect, I guess, more consistency from them at this point.
I mean, yeah, I think we all understood that the Titans were going to be in a state of change and fluctuation a little bit this season because the offensive line is so new. But yeah, I mean, the Colts and the Texans have been at least consistent. After the couple bumps for the Texans, they kind of smoothed it out a little bit. The defense, while it wasn't perfect today, was still, you hold somebody to 21 points, you expect that that's a winnable game. So
yeah,
they're doing their jobs, and the Colts are the same way. The Colts are playing phenomenal defense, and they're just hoping to get some sort of complementary offense and maybe a quarterback that's not made out of glass. I don't know.
Yeah, that'd be really nice to have a quarterback that's not made out of glass.
Yeah.
I guess we'll talk about the AFC South games more than I guess we'll dive in a little bit to the other ones, but I want to cover those are the important games.
Yeah.
Most competitive division in football.
Yeah.
By record, actually. Maybe the AFC North too. But let's cover the division matchup first. Colts Titans. This was listen, this is a battle. The Colts haven't won. I think it's been 7, or they lost 6 of the last 7 against Tennessee after owning them with Andrew Luck for many years. This was kind of considered, it's a new era for the Colts moving into Anthony Richardson. Richardson gets hurt on the design runs, which I have said time and time again. Why are you designing runs for the kid? He's comfortable in the pocket. He's clearly showed poise in the pocket. Why is he not just using his legs to extend the play and be athletic? But Shane Steichen loves to do that. He just loves to do it. And he loves taking chances like a well-known quarterback whisperer that was the Colts head coach just a year ago.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people, when they heard Steichen was coming, and then the moment that Anthony Richardson was drafted, everybody was like, "Oh, thank God, we got a guy who knows how to handle a mobile quarterback," and which is true. But I mean, I don't know that anybody was necessarily expecting Anthony Richardson to just get a concussion and miss a game, and then now he's got this AC sprain.
Which was a blessing that it's an AC sprain.
Yeah, it could have been significantly worse the way he was tackled. But I was actually talking to the Colts fan on my podcast channel about it, and I was just like, why didn't you slide? Harold Landry, technically, yes, he was tackled from behind, but he knew where Harold Landry was from the moment the ball was snapped. That was the first person he saw in another uniform. And he was in the hip pocket of Anthony Richardson the entire time until he was tackled. Slide. Avoid unnecessary contact.
Yes.
And I don't know if nobody's taught him that yet, but that needs to be a lesson at some point. Bring in is there a professional baseball team in Indiana?
There is a minor league team. They did it with Andrew Luck too, the Indianapolis Indians. Um,
Okay,
they called in a sliding coach and they got a slip and slide
there
for
you go.
Andrew Luck when he was there, and they taught him to slide.
All right, the class is in session. Bring the slip and slide back. Anthony Richardson's the new pupil. Let's make it happen
Yeah.
because he's electric. If you can keep him on the field, he's one of those quarterbacks that at least so far has given a spark to the offense, even when he's not being 100% accurate or even close to it.
Hmm.
So if he can find ways of not breaking himself, I think he's going to have a pretty solid career. And I was the guy not too long ago that was like, this guy's going to be out of the league in 3 years.
I
Nobody,
said I said the same thing.
yeah. So I'm fully aware that I got to eat some crow, but at the same time, um, this his career could be very quickly derailed if he doesn't learn to take care of himself.
I think it's that. There are Colts fans out there that are still pretty delusional about his injury. And, his obvious injury history after he's played 4 games. They're saying, oh, it's just an unlucky streak. I mean, anytime a quarterback, if your running quarterback gets hurt past the line of scrimmage on a design run, I mean I see that as the
Yeah,
coaching's fault, and obviously Richardson's fault for not sliding, but that's more something that needs to be taught.
yeah,
And he's comfortable in the pocket. He has shown poise in the pocket where he's able to stand in there. I mean, he took a hit from fucking Aaron Donald and delivered a dart last week.
yeah,
He also came up limping in the game last week too. It was a short time, but I count that as a possible injury. He's been
yeah,
injured in every game he's played. Every single game, at least for a very small amount of time. And there becomes a point where it's like this isn't luck anymore. They're being reckless. And I feel like they're being reckless at this point. This was the injury that kind of put it over the top. And we're 4 games into the kid's career.
yeah. Oh man, that sucks. That
Yeah.
sucks. You like again, he's electric. Like there's not many people other than outside maybe Lamar who can kind of bring that juice to any offense. And it's just going to be a shame if he doesn't learn how to slide, learn when he can and can't avoid hits. But it's going to be all for naught if Steichen's just going to lean on the design QB runs anyway. Which
Yeah.
maybe he thinks he's coaching for Chicago.
I really think he's coaching for Philadelphia. I think he thinks that all those players automatically come with him because
Yeah,
that's how they're treating it.
yeah,
And you know, I hate to be this negative guy on a win. Like what I'm supposed to be celebrating a win, but I haven't really felt like Steichen's play calling and decision making has been you know up to par. He's clearly built a great locker room that get the guys love each other. I mean, they still accepted Jonathan Taylor with open arms after everything that happened. They
yeah,
accepted him with open arms. But this is really, really, really scaring me because this is what we said about Frank Reich. We said he is a quarterback whisperer, and we've said the same thing about Shane Steichen. Shane
yep,
Steichen comes from the Frank Reich coaching tree, came from Nick Sirianni, um, and his play calling and decision making. He's terrible with time management. He does not care about timeouts
yeah,
whatsoever. He always tries to do that little, try to jump him, get him to jump. Maybe
yeah,
works 5% of the time on average. And you look at, at the end of the first half today, they could have easily just taken a field goal. You go up 7 heading into the half, and you walk away. You didn't get it. You didn't score a touchdown, but no, they go for it, and you lose the points.
yeah,
I feel like that's happened a couple times at least now with Steichen already. I don't care that we're 3-2. There's been a lot of mismanagement. I mean, last week against the Rams, you're down 8 with 8 minutes to go. You get the ball. You don't try to run the clock down because that 2-point conversion isn't a guarantee to get the 2-point conversion whatsoever. You try and score as quickly as you can, even kick a field goal You're down 5. Your defense is playing great. Get a stop, and then you'll have the ball with 2 minutes and 2 timeouts. You go and score and win the game there. I think Steichen completely screwed that up. He tried to run the clock down, which you can't run the clock down with 7 minutes. It's very difficult, especially with the timeouts that the Rams have.
Yeah.
I I don't get it. I don't really see the love for his play calling. If he took it away and was just a locker room guy, then I would say, great, this is a perfect setup. Get Eric Bieniemy in there.
Yeah.
Get him fucking in there and be half head coach and just be the offensive head coach.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. Jeff, the Colts fan on my show, for basically since like week 2, he's been commenting on how inconsistent Steichen has been with certain game management aspects, not calling a timeout. I can't remember the particular instance, but there's been several times in the chat during game day where Jeff's just like, why are you not kicking the freaking field goal? What the hell? Take the points. Take the points. You got one of the best kickers in the league, and we paid him all this money. And he just set a record at last week, or at this point it was last week, but 4 50-yard field goals in one game. The guy's good. And for whatever reason, I feel like maybe Steichen's just not trying to lean on the kicker too much. Maybe he's trying to put more pressure on the offense on purpose, maybe.
That's a good theory, I guess. It's kind of like, what was it? The Flash movie. The director came out and said, "No, the CGI is supposed to look like that. The CG is supposed to look bad because he's in he's in the whatever Flash zone or something. Can't remember the specific name off the top of my head.
Yeah.
It's like, guys, like I love Bill Belichick. Like that's one thing. I'm like, if the Colts could get Belichick, I'd be so much happier. I don't care about their record right now. Their team is horrible. It's just not a good team.
Yeah.
But I still think if you give Belichick a great team, he's going to go out and win ball games no matter what because he's smart.
Yeah. And I don't think Steichen is like impossible to reach those levels for him. I think there's a lot of these bumps and bruises he's taking because he's a rookie head coach. He's got to learn some things on the fly, and his growing pains are going to be a lot more pronounced than some of maybe the rookies per se, who might mess up on a block and it might not affect the play a whole lot, but he mismanages the 2-minute drill, and everybody in national media is just like, "Who is this joker? What is this? What is this?" I don't think he's anywhere near the what was the coach for the Broncos last year?
Oh, Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah, he's
nowhere near that. I won't give him that designation whatsoever.
No. That's a pure insult. But no, he's taken his lumps so far, and I think one of the good things that he does is at least he owns up to that, and he's like, pretty consistently been like, I got to be better in those situations.
Yeah.
That's
why I'm trying not to freak out, because everyone knows when your football team's playing football, no matter what, you're like, I want to win. Like, I don't care what position that we're in, draft wise or whatever. You want to see them win, and you see them fuck up. You're like, what the fuck? I feel that PTSD of Frank Reich. It's just, it comes on every Sunday. I'm like, oh my God, these guys are, he's going to fuck us up. He's going to make us lose another game because of some sort of mismanagement, which winning three out of 5 with this team against these teams that we're playing, that's pretty damn good. Like, I'm giving him his flowers as well.
Yeah. You guys haven't played slouch teams necessarily. So, especially with some of the folks that have been decent surprises in our division, and Tennessee probably doing their best road performance of the season. They haven't won a road game since like week 6 last year or something. Yeah, I think in a week or two it's supposed to be like a full calendar year until their last road win. They hadn't lost to Indianapolis since 2018, and the last time before that they lost to Indianapolis was Phillip Rivers on Thursday night.
I remember that
in Tennessee.
The block punt
So,
in the back of the end zone.
yep, yep. So, I mean, a lot of monkeys are off the back right now. You got to imagine the Jim Irsay, who's been trying to be a Titan killer for the last several years, is grinning ear to ear right now, and probably singing his favorite song. I don't know what it is, but he's probably drumming.
Some sort of like 70s rock.
Yeah, and it's fine that I don't know what it is because he probably also doesn't know the lyrics and is just drunkenly rambling.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Um,
probably gonna call a giant concert just
oh,
for him.
he's definitely gonna have a concert during the game next week as it's like a fan experience,
Get
which
to
is
know Jim Irsay. Yeah.
another monkey they got to get off their back. They're going to Jacksonville.
Mm.
I've been gifted tickets. I was on strike against going to Jacksonville, but now I was gifted tickets, so I'm like, I have to go. It was Chiefs fan money, so I hope that will break the curse, possibly, because the
Yeah.
Chiefs were able to win there. Um,
Nice.
but we gotta hope to get that monkey off their back. This it
Yeah.
can't go on. It can't go on for much longer, right? It's
Right.
impossible.
I mean, you're right. I think the Jaguars fan on my show will be at that game. So I don't
Oh,
know. Yeah. So I don't know if you guys like even know each other remotely, but I should probably get you guys to
that was
link
the
up.
first time I met him.
Oh, okay. Okay. So I'll try to get you guys to link up or something. But
Yeah,
yeah. I mean the Colts are in a good position to take that monkey right off and yeet it back into the tree, but the Jags are looking good. The Jags, staying in London, getting 2 wins over the
that's
Falcons
big.
and the Bills. That's huge. They're 3-2, just like y'all, and because they beat y'all, they're actually ahead of you in the division. If I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
which we can talk about Jacksonville. Well, Tennessee's the saddest one, so we can end with them. Um, Jacksonville, I mean, I think they're more the definition of schizophrenic in this division.
Yeah,
Because holy shit, like I don't think they look good at all against Atlanta. I feel like if Atlanta just took out Ritter and put in Heineke, they would have won that game. Because I think it was a much closer game than the score really kind of showed.
yeah.
But them going, they got Buffalo's number too. That's got to be something because I remember they beat them couple years ago, or was it last year?
I think it was a couple years ago. It was like 6-9 or something.
It was. I remember it was a really low scoring game, um, and Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he's not. He hasn't been the number one pick. I would say that. I think their
Yeah.
defense has really showed out. It's definitely been a much better showing from their defense
Oh yeah.
today.
I mean, that's kind of been the thing all season with Jacksonville. They're in their defense, I think is a top 10 unit. I think might be like top 7 or something overall. Like they usually this season, it's not the offense that's usually killing people.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're really good at pass rush win rate and a bunch of other little, you know, indicators of success, but this Jacksonville defense, they're the real deal. They're showing up every week and they're shutting down the run game and they're able to get after the passer and they're giving teams hell. But it's the games they're losing. Trevor Lawrence and the offense have looked pedestrian, and the
Mm-hmm.
offensive line in every game has been very, very questionable. I don't know if it's people taking steps back or playing out of position and they're just trying to make things work. But Trevor Lawrence has been the most pressured quarterback, if I'm not mistaken.
Rick even more than more than Stroud.
Yeah, no, Stroud's actually because he didn't get sacked this week. That makes 3 weeks in a row he's not been sacked. He's been pressured a fair amount, but
Yeah.
Lawrence, I mean, just watching the game today, every single play, he gets the snap, he hits his drop, the final step of his drop, and then he has to take off and like run through the pocket a little bit because somebody's getting through. It's been the same story every single week. The Colts were able to get after him. The Texans
Mm-hmm.
were able to get after him. That's that's kind of the way to get to the Jags is create a lot of pressure and chaos on that offensive line. And so far, they're not answering that call. But Trevor Lawrence, despite that, has been very, very accurate and very on the money when it comes to actually being able to get the ball off.
So Jacksonville, they're sitting about middle of the pack right now. They're averaging 21 points a game. Um, Houston is just behind Indianapolis. Houston's at 23, tied with Chicago. Yes, Chicago with 23 points a game, and then the Colts are 24.0.
No.
Houston or Tennessee, sorry. Keep thinking the Oilers. Tennessee is 17.6 points per game, by far worst in the division.
Yeah.
Kind of surprised, I guess. I feel like Jacksonville's offense would have been lower.
I mean, you would think that that's possible because of the Falcons game, and they really only scored like the one touchdown in there. But I mean, pretty much through the rest of the games, it's been the offense scoring points. It's just not usually been enough. I mean, they put up 17 on 20. Shit, was it 37-20 or 37-17 against the Texans? And they put up 30 something against the Colts.
31.
Yeah.
31-21 was the final.
Yeah.
They're actually, yardage wise, they're number 8 too. They're right behind Minnesota. And then they're ahead of Houston and the Colts. It goes Colts, Texans, Jaguars.
Makes sense.
You know, the AFC South just representing well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, look, hey, the AFC South's been playing hot. They've been playing hot. When we're on, we're on.
Yeah. I don't want to hear anybody talking shit about the AFC South no more.
No. But
we don't
I think
have
at the same time, go ahead.
Oh, we don't have a 4-loss team. It's gorgeous.
I know, dude. And God bless America. That means good football is happening. And for the longest time in this division, that has not been the case. God, thank God for that. Yeah, the Jags are going to have to figure some things out. They got some questions at left guard, and they moved the guy who was playing at left tackle in Cam Robinson's absence, Walker Little. They moved him into left guard, and then they've been letting Anton Harrison play right tackle. And Anton Harrison, he's been all right, but he's let up some key pressures at different times. And I imagine Walker Little wasn't exactly a perfect fit at left guard for this week, at least. But you know, they need time to gel, and they keep changing the pieces. And with time, the Jags and Duval Nation will be, as I predicted early in the offseason, that it's their division to lose. Yeah. I think they're going to do just fine despite their offensive line woes early on.
Let's move to Houston. So congrats to CJ Stroud breaking the record for most pass attempts without an interception to start his career. I'll say I was a doubter on CJ Stroud. You know, Ohio State quarterback, not the biggest guy, I guess, compared to what, like, you know, running quarterbacks, their athleticism. But he's a great decision maker. He clearly, he does not turn the ball over. And the fact that he didn't get sacked, you said he hasn't been sacked in the last 3 weeks with that offensive line that they have just taped together with duct tape and string. That's a fantastic sign for the Texans.
I think you're being a little, what's the word I'm looking for here? I guess you're being a little nice to say it would be duct tape. It'd be more like caution tape with less rigidity. You know, that was the offensive line for the first 2 weeks of the season. We couldn't stop a nosebleed. It was bad. But the last 3 weeks, they've turned it around and given him a fair amount of clean pockets, and he's been able to dice him up. His completion percentage isn't, you know, what you would like it to be, but he's moving the ball downfield and he's taking shots. Even though he hasn't thrown an interception, he's not dinking and dunking. Like, his average yards per pass is like 7.5, I think, which isn't terrible. I think the career, I think Jimmy Garoppolo is like third in NFL history for yards per attempt at like 8.1. So, I mean, he's not just throwing screens.
Yeah.
He's given people chances. There was a several balls today that could have been intercepted, but they were 50-50 balls, you know? And you don't
Yeah.
throw 50-50 balls with the intention of, throwing a pick, but you know that it's a possibility, but you're throwing it to give your guy a chance. And he's doing that, and the guys are having some success doing those things, and you're able to push that ball down the field. I think Tank Dell leaving today with a concussion really hurt the way the offense flows because lately he's been really, really hot. And they had to rely a little bit more on Robert Woods, who also left early in the game, I think in the third quarter. But he led everybody with 9 targets, if I'm not mistaken. Well, no, I think Dalton Schultz had like 11, but he had like 7 receptions.
Yeah.
Um, the defense, like we talked about earlier, the defense came to play. They did its job. The yardage total was not at all where you'd like it to be. They let up some really big plays on some gadget stuff. There was like a double reverse that ended up being a pass from Drake London to Jonnu Smith that picked up about 20, 25 yards.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't capitalize on the 2 fumbles that they managed to create at all. And
Yeah.
that really kind of hurt them. They weren't able to get any sort of sustained drives going for much of the second half, and that allowed the Falcons to score 14 in the fourth quarter and walk away with the ball game. And that there just really wasn't much that the Texans could do right, even though it wasn't all going wrong. It was the moments that you really, really needed somebody to step up. Somebody was getting toasted, and Drake London was throwing people around. And he was finding Kyle Pitts all day. That was probably like the most action Kyle Pitts has seen since draft day, or since
Yeah.
Matt Ryan.
Since whatever bowl game he played in at Florida,
Yeah,
if he even played in one. I mean, it's I had him. I drafted him in fantasy. I got rid of him. I picked up Komet
yeah,
from Chicago.
yeah. That's a solid
So
move.
yeah, I mean, it's just Pitts was I wanted to believe in him. I was like, this is the last time I'll believe in him, and I took him, and I was like, well, you're dead to me now. Never touching this guy again with a 10-foot pole. The Texans defense gave up 447 yards of offense. If
Yeah,
anybody was wondering on the specific number, that's
a
not
very
good.
yeah. They usually pride themselves on bend but don't break, but they broke pretty quickly.
Yeah.
An interesting factoid about Desmond Ritter: he's never lost a home game in the NFL or in college. With today's
That's
win, he is 31-0 since he started as at whatever year he was in college starting.
yeah, that's a shocker because I mean Desmond Ritter, I don't care. He threw for 329 yards. He's just not the guy. I feel like he's a game manager when he's at his
Mhm.
best. That's his play style, which is fine. He'll be a great backup in the league. He'll make, 20, $30 million as a backup for the next 10 years. I just can't see the guy as a starter. I
Yeah.
really can't.
Well, here's the interesting part about him. He plays under Arthur Smith, who designed Tennessee's offense to run around Ryan Tannehill,
Mm-hmm.
who you could argue is of the same kind of ilk of game manager material. And I think he knows how to work with that because when he was there, that's when they went to the AFC Championship game. He then left to become the Falcons head coach and brought in Mariota and whatever Tennessee players that Tennessee didn't want anymore, and became Tennessee South. And they're putting together some competitive teams, and they're able to go out and even though they've a couple of the games they've lost by slim margins. And this is a team that a lot of people were writing off before the season to be bottom feeders, as well as
Yeah.
pretty much the entire NFC South. And they're out here shaking it, doing the damn thing.
I feel like what Arthur Smith has done with these Falcons teams, I mean, they should have a top 5 pick every year, I feel like.
Yeah.
And he's made some competition out of them. I think that they were in that division race in the NFC South last year
Mm-hmm.
for, I mean, I think it was up until week 15
Yeah.
at that point, week maybe 16. So he's done a great job. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if that is. I don't know if that's from bringing in the Titans guys or
No, I
what.
think that's
But
just what Arthur Smith does on offense, man. He just
yeah,
understands. Um, I think he understands defenses to a degree and
mm-hmm.
knows what like responsibilities they're going to have to key on, and then just takes advantage of it. It's kind of the same way Bobby Slowick's first job in the NFL was as a defensive quality coordinator, the quality control coordinator with D'Amico Ryans in San Francisco. Oh no, wait, in Washington under Mike Shanahan.
Oh, with that whole because that
Yeah.
I think Kyle Shanahan was there, McVay was there too,
Yep.
and what McDaniel I think was
Yep.
there as well.
Hmm. All those young guys now they're out here shaking the damn Shanahan tree
Yeah.
and doing the damn thing. I mean, the Dolphins put up 70 points a couple weeks ago. What the hell? So
They
I'm
beat the
saying
shit. I mean, they just beat the shit out of teams. They
they
do.
do. They beat the shit out of teams, and then they lose to the Bills. Um,
The Bills were coming out for vengeance. I'll
oh,
say
they,
that.
they
I think
definitely were.
they were ready because everyone was writing them off. They were like,
Yeah,
we're gonna go beat the shit out of these guys.
these guys lost to the Jets. They're done. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Tennessee Titans. I'm gonna say this. There's something wrong. That the running game is not. It's not gonna get it done. They're not quite. I think they're middle of the pack with the run game, and their passing offense is horrible.
yeah.
Um, this Tennessee Titans team has always been built around Henry, and it's just not looking good. I mean, Henry got stopped on a 4th and 1 today. That does not happen normally.
Yeah, no, you're right. I think it's pretty obvious that the Titans are trying to move away and look towards the future without Derrick Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think they're trying to save him, perhaps, and try to get that maybe up his workload as the season goes on, and maybe by the end of the season he's what we expect him to be. But at the moment, I think they're just probably the most logical thing is they're trying to save his legs and split him with the young kid because they were really high on Tajay Spears. And when he's in, they do tend to do pretty well with him in. But yeah, they are shooting themselves in the foot by not running Derrick Henry often. And even in games last season when they were down double digits or whatever at halftime, Derrick Henry would have at that point 9 carries, and then at the end of the game he'd have 30 and over
Yeah.
100 and some change and a couple touchdowns, and they might win the game.
Mm-hmm.
He's always
The
going to go ahead.
Tannehill threw it 34 times today.
Yeah, that's the most they've passed in a long time. I mean,
That's not the success. That's not the formula for success for them whatsoever. It
no,
never has been.
it's all about the play action for the Titans. Get Derrick Henry
Mm-hmm.
going, hit that play action, and hope that that defense is biting on Derrick Henry. When you don't feed him the ball enough, it takes all of the bite out of that. He's a
Mm-hmm.
decoy, and people are just going to eventually not worry about it. And that's
Yeah.
kind of what we're seeing. They're not worried about Derrick Henry getting the ball. They're more worried about stopping D Hop, and that's for the most part that's been pretty effective.
D Hop, 140 yards today. I want to say that was a season high so
It is.
far.
It is.
He doesn't. So he, I was right when I said D Hop is old, and he just doesn't look. He's not D Hop. He doesn't. I don't think he looks like D Hop to me.
Yeah.
He's still. I think you said it. He'll still find his way to have some big games, but just not the way that he normally does. He's
Yeah.
not that deep ball threat as much. I think he did. I think he did catch a deep ball today. Like some 20-yard pass towards the corner.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't the DeAndre Hopkins that we're used to.
Oh, and a perfect example of that, there was an almost touchdown pass to him that maybe 3 years ago he gets both feet down, but
Yeah.
he didn't get both feet down, didn't count, and that's a touchdown that could have been that kind of squarely rests on his shoulders.
By force of habit, I just assumed he got his feet down on that play. I was just like, oh my god, it's DeAndre Hopkins. He's gonna get his feet down.
Yeah,
But I
same.
mean, I guess it was a clear like, no, he didn't.
Yeah, no. I mean, as soon as they showed the replay, I was like, damn, his foot is out. That
Yeah,
is out. Like,
yeah.
not even close.
Which can't blame Derrick Henry because he's not a quarterback and shouldn't be expecting your running back to be a better quarterback than your actual quarterback.
True, except for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Um, the biggest thing today for the Titans is they couldn't stop the Colts at all. And historically they do very, very bad against running quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
And when Anthony Richardson was in, you could tell that they were preparing for that. You could tell that that's something that they had been practicing for. And then when the game shifted after he left through injury, Minshew does what he does, nickels and dimes and paper cuts you to death.
Mm-hmm.
And he's probably if the term exists in football, he's the best saver in the league. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I've never really, because even when he was in Jacksonville, he wasn't horrible. I mean, he probably had his games, and
yeah,
obviously you get rid of him for Lawrence. That's the smart thing to do. I don't know how the guy doesn't have a starting position somewhere.
I was saying that he should have started this year over Anthony Richardson at
I
the beginning of
agree.
the season. Everybody was like, "Oh, what's Anthony Richardson going to learn from Gardner Minshew?" I'm like, "Well, he's been in the league. I'm sure there's something."
There are
You know?
people out there that think that just sitting and watching, you can't learn from that. There are
Yeah,
people that just think it's like, no. You look at Patrick Mahomes.
yeah,
That's a guy who sat and became fantastic. And then they'll say, oh, well, Anthony Richardson's not Patrick Mahomes. And I'm like, you know what? you're just a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point. You're never going to change your mind because
yeah,
people on the internet are stupid. We can't
yeah.
forget that.
What's
They're
up,
dumb.
internet?
Yeah.
We on internet.
Um, Chio Chigosium Okanowo. I hope I said that right.
Oh, Chigakonkwo,
I don't.
Chig Okonkwo.
Chigokonkwo.
Yeah,
Okay, well that was a whole fuck up by me.
yeah,
He
you're
had
fine. It took me a long time.
he had two offensive pass interference calls on him. He did not catch the ball in either play.
Yeah, yeah.
How does
And
that happen?
I don't know. The same way that oh, it's the same way that Christian Fulton was told to watch the double moves and, watch the defensive pass interference on double moves. And after halftime has, I think at least one defensive pass interference on a double move, but potentially two. Um, it's the same kind of faux pas. It's literally just thoughtlessness and just general. I'm gonna do what I got to do by any means necessary, and kind of forgetting where you're at. And that's kind of been the mo of the Titans this season, especially when they're on the road, which again they're terrible on the road right now.
Yeah,
I think Mike Vrabel's road record is like 23-20.
historic, and he still had. That means he was really good on the road.
At one point, yeah.
Yeah, at one point, but not anymore. I mean, this Titans team, what a turnaround
Yeah.
for this team.
I mean, a couple years ago, you had AJ Brown and you had a young core, and Ryan Tannehill, who was playing efficiently. The offensive
Mm-hmm.
line wasn't banged up. You had a lot of hope on the horizon, and here we are past the horizon, and a lot of those guys are gone, and you don't have much to show for it. And now fans are expecting the same that they've been getting, and they're not, and fans are pissed. And it's honestly, I think the Titans fans have a right to be pissed because the general manager, no, not general manager, the owner,
Owner?
Amy Adams Strunk, she fired John Robinson after I think giving him an extension of like 3 years
I think I remember that.
because of the bad decisions that he was making.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's gone and been no backlash on any decisions that Mike Vrabel has made. And I find that peculiar I made a bet with the guy at my regular day job that if the Titans were to be a 4-win team this season, that Mike Vrabel is more than on the hot seat. He could very well be fired.
Yeah.
And I bet a Choco Taco. And I don't know if you know about Choco Tacos or not, but they're delicious
I know about Choco Tacos.
and they're hard to find right now.
Yeah.
um,
Well, where are you getting an ice cream truck anymore? I mean,
wow.
that's the problem.
You can't even go to Kroger and find them. Like you can go find it. You can find where the spot would be, but there's never any Choco Tacos in there. It's frustrating.
You're gonna really have to hope. You
Yeah.
really have to hope you win this bet because you might never be able to pay out this bet.
Yeah, I'll have to like supplement with ice cream sandwiches or something. But
Something like that.
here's a whole box of ice cream sandwiches. I hope this settles the
Hopefully, it
debt.
equals a single Choco Taco.
I'll just make my own or something. Uh, God.
All right. Well, great week for the AFC South. Let's jump into the other games. I guess we'll just do one sentence, a quick kind of PTI almost
Okay.
hitting, hit quick hitters of these games. I'll start just because I announced the games. Panthers, Lions. The Lions look great. They look right. David Montgomery's still a monster. Adam Thielen, sneaky great pickup for
Yeah.
Carolina. He's keeping going. He's keeping it going. But Frank Reich is, my God. They're already calling for his head, which is a little premature, even for me as a Frank Reich disliker of head coaching, because he seems like a good guy.
Yeah. Well, it's the whole it's the preacher thing, isn't it? Yeah.
It makes him nice. It
It
makes
does.
him like he's like very, yeah, you're like, I don't want to hate this guy because he clearly seems
He's the
like a
man
good
of the
person.
cloth. What are you gonna do? You're gonna hate one of God's servants? No, can't do it. Can't do it. And except for the ones in the Catholic Church, those are like
Well, I
the
mean,
high ups.
I compared Matt Canada to those guys because they did really bad stuff and got a promotion.
Oh yeah.
Just like Matt Canada, horrible job, got a promotion.
Oh man, I don't remember who this guy was. Andy Reid did something ridiculous. Like one of the last years he was with Philadelphia, he had a defensive line coach became his offensive coordinator one year, and it was
That
horrible.
sounds about right for
Um,
Andy Reid back then.
yeah, no, it was real weird because it was like, what is this guy gonna do? And he's like, he understands defense, he'll figure it out. And no, he didn't figure it out. And they ended up getting him fired.
That's what Belichick said about Matt Patricia last year. He did the exact same thing. He
Yeah,
said, this guy understands defense. Of course, he'll know how to run an offense as a defensive guy. It's like,
yeah.
no, he has no fucking clue what to do.
Yeah, literally not at all. But
You could put a monkey back there and just let him pick.
yeah, just throw a dart or throw your poop at whatever and whatever symbol, and that's the play we're gonna run.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
All right. Giants, Dolphins. The Dolphins are so fucking fast. A-Chain is a monster. And the Giants are a complete and utter dumpster fire.
Yeah.
They wasted a lot of money. Well, the offensive line is actually killing all that money that they invested into Daniel Jones.
Yeah. Yeah. It doesn't help that a couple of their best offensive linemen have been hurt, but
yeah,
poor Daniel Jones. No Saquon for a couple weeks, and he's just had nothing to help him. It's been rough. What was it? He got sacked 11 times last week or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
Against a Seattle team that is, they're
not
not
necessarily
fantastic.
Exactly. And here they are, shit in the bed.
Yeah. Saints, Patriots. Whoa. Bill Belichick. I mean, listen, if you thought it couldn't get worse last week, let me tell you, this was bad.
Technically, last week was the worst margin of defeat in Bill Belichick's coaching history. However, this was the second worst defeat in his coaching history. It's just hilarious that they're butted up right next to each other, basically kissing.
It is the Bart Simpson. I can't, like, my day. This is the worst day of my life, and Homer Simpson coming up and saying, "Your worst day of your life so far."
Exactly. Yes.
That is
Exactly.
exactly what it is.
Hmm.
Just piss poor. I love Belichick, but I mean, Mac Jones has got to be done. He
Mac Jones
has
has
to
got to
be
be
done.
done. If Zappy is Zappy hurt, because I imagine that's the only reason he didn't get pulled. But if Zappy's hurt, then they need to bring in that Cunningham dude that they had during the preseason. I think he's
Yeah,
on their practice squad right now from Louisville, Myron Cunningham. He's a freak athlete, and at the very least, he'll give him some energy.
they
Um,
did. They did bring in Zappy, but they were down 31-0 in the fourth quarter.
wow. Wow.
My God.
Yeah, I'd be letting Zappy start next week, and then if Zappy can't get anything going, I'm pulling Myron Cunningham out of the bullpen, and it's time to let him dance.
Cam
Because
Newton said he'll still play. Let's run it back with him. I
yeah,
mean, good
he and
Lord, if we're doing that.
yeah, he and Colin Kaepernick can.
Bring Cap. I mean, let's just bring all the old quarterbacks. Matt Ryan technically isn't retired. I bet
Yeah.
Bill Belichick would love to work with Matt Ryan.
Look, I'm sure Philip Rivers is has already had another kid by now. The bills are piling up. Just give him a call. Philip Rivers. I'm sure the Patriots could use your help.
And if there's any sort of malfunction with a team playing, Rivers has a full team. You know, he's ready to go. All those
Yeah,
kids, they're ready to go.
I'm pretty sure he actually drives a school bus everywhere he has to go just to fit all of his children.
That a litter. That's what I when it gets over a certain number, I start to just call them litters.
I mean, yeah, he's got like 7 or 8, right?
No, he can field a full football team with just I think just his kids now. Not
Oh.
even him. You don't even need him. I think he's got 11.
His poor wife. She must never get any sleep.
Oh my God. Oof. God, I can't imagine that. Um Ravens Steelers. The Steelers, I mean, well, the Ravens are shooting themselves in the foot, and the Steelers also don't want to win anything. Neither
Yeah.
team wants to win a game.
Yet the Steelers defense has other plans, as per usual. Steelers defense is dragging this team across the finish line yet again this season, and I think it's going to be a common theme. This defense is going to be the entirety of the backbone of this team because Kenny Pickett is not him. He's not him,
He fooled us
and
down the stretch
he did.
last year.
And he even had a good game against the Raiders, where that was the first game he'd ever thrown 2 touchdown passes in the same game. Um, so there's mild hope, but it's all defense for the Steelers and the Ravens. They're just about as banged up as the Houston Texans are. And I imagine that soon they're going to be getting a little less injured, but woof.
I mean, if you watch the game they played against the Colts, I mean, there was two or three fumbles. There was a fumbled snap at the end of that game. I don't care. I mean, we got away with the pass interference, but that's how officiating goes. It's
Yeah,
constant back and forth. You're given makeup calls. I've ref football games before, so I definitely know how it goes. And,
right.
reasonable football fans understand. But they
Yeah,
have shot themselves in the foot so many times. I just it feels like I feel like that's the theme with the Ravens every year too, where their condition whoever is their strength and conditioning coordinator or whatever, get his ass out of there. How
yeah,
is how does he still have a job?
yeah. I don't know. It's the same thing with the Titans quality court or strength and conditioning coordinator. Last couple years, it's obviously historically bad for the Titans, but he must have moved up to Baltimore, and he must have been sharing secrets with the Baltimore Ravens or something because they're stacking bodies like it's World War II out here.
Yeah. Every
Yeah,
year. It's not even this year. It's every single year.
yeah,
Just unacceptable.
yeah,
Unacceptable by far. Eagles Rams. This game was a lot closer than I think people expected. Cooper Kupp. Let me actually look at the box score real quick. I think he got pretty involved pretty quickly. He
yeah,
was their leading receiver. 8 for 118. Not really a shocker that Stafford went back. He got 12 targets, led the team in targets too. So Puka Nakua owners, he still had a good day, but I'm not shocked that the production went down for Nakua.
Yeah, I didn't get to watch much of this game, but the I don't know, one maybe two drives I did watch. One of them was the Rams driving down to score a touchdown, and I was in the middle of a conversation, and I think I saw like four plays, and all four of them went to Cooper Cup.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was like, all right, yep, they're it's at the Cooper Cup show again. Here we are.
And the Eagles are doing just enough. I feel like they're not like what the Eagles were last year, which I almost kind of like that. You kind of pace yourself a little bit more.
Yeah,
And I don't know your opinion on the tush push, brotherly shove, whatever.
yeah,
I think it's just a play, and other teams have tried to do it and they can't do it.
yeah. I think it's because the Eagles have one of the best offensive lines in football. That they're, a lot of those guys are, in their 32, 33 age season. They're
Hmm.
vets. They've been doing this for a minute and they know all sorts of tricks and tips to really just smash that thing home. But
Hmm.
I think another big thing is they always have Goddard and Stoll back there to push him.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're like 2 6'5" trees back there just shoving this man in a direction. If it
And Hertz's
failed,
strength is like the last thing you think about. He can squat
yeah,
600 pounds.
and yeah, and then you factor in the horse of a man he is. Yes.
Yeah.
Um, and then one last thing about the Rams here.
Mhm.
They're sneaky good. Everybody thought they
Very
were going to be
sneaky good.
the pits of the NFC West, and yet they're out here giving people the business. I think that Matt Stafford's still got a lot to give in the NFL world, and I think they're out there to try to prove that they're not just some sitting duck waiting to be taken advantage of.
People forgot that Matt Stafford has played on really horrible teams and made them a lot better,
Yeah.
including me, because he was gone last year and it was like, oh my God, this team is horrible. But Stafford having good coaching in McVay,
Hmm.
I mean, you can never count them out.
No, no.
Bengals Cardinals. Burrow found his Burrow found it. I watched this game. I have Jamar Chase starting, and I had Burrow on my bench this week because I started Richardson. So I was like, well, Burrow's been sucking. I'm not going to take a chance on this.
Right.
Chase 192, three tutties. I think that was a record for something for the Bengals. I can't remember what record it was. Burrow 317, three touchdowns and an interception. Cardinals are feisty though. They
Oh yeah.
were in this game for a long time.
Yeah, the Cardinals are a feisty team. Josh Dobbs and everybody on that team are currently fighting for their football futures
Mm-hmm.
every single week. And you can tell that they're doing that because against teams that are vastly more talented than they are, they're playing and they're playing well enough to make it competitive. This is the real, like, everybody offseason was like the Cardinals are the consensus worst team in the NFL. And they're not playing like that at all. And that's one, I think, a testament to the way Jonathan Gannon is running things,
Mm-hmm.
and the kind of culture that he's trying to instill in this now Mobius team. But on the flip side of that, the Bengals have been fucking dying for a get right game, and
Yeah.
they finally got there, and they finally got a rhythm out of Joe Burrow and any of the receivers. I'm pretty sure any Bengals fan would have been like, just throw it to the tight end. I don't care. Just make it look
Just
good
get it
and
out of there.
get
Yeah.
it out of there. And thank God they started doing that, because now I think fantasy managers are going to stop freaking out about Bengals players. It's the only
Yeah.
reason I'd held on to Tyler Boyd so far, is just on the off chance that Joe Burrow was just, messing around the first like 5 games.
Yeah. I wasn't freaking out too much. I mean, I was a little bit like, all right. After last week, because I kind of thought against the Rams they might have found it.
Yeah.
And last week they sucked. And I was like, oh, brother, like it might happen. But I was like, there's no way in this world that such a talented quarterback with so many talented weapons was gonna be this bad. I couldn't imagine it.
Yeah.
Um so yeah, I'm glad they're back. I love seeing the Bengals being back. Especially
Yeah,
that fan base just deserves it.
yeah. I think it's probably too late, but in the offseason, I'd actually placed a wager that Joe Burrow would win MVP. I imagine that ship has sailed.
Unless he does what Brady did in those, like, when he was suspended for the first 4 games, and then
Oh
he
yeah,
just goes out of a cannon, and he probably
yeah,
has to do better than what Brady did.
yeah,
I wouldn't see that happening.
yeah.
Jets Broncos. The I don't know. I don't even know what to say about this game. This was
What's the
nobody
final
wanted to
score?
win at the end. Wilson
What,
threw a pick, and then Denver fumbled, and the Jets returned it for a touchdown.
what was the final score?
31-21 Jets.
Okay,
Box score, Brees Hall ran for
all of the yards.
177
Yeah,
and a
he's
touchdown.
that dude is so fast and he can cut so quick and so clean. He's breaking people's souls every time he's literally making a cut.
Yeah.
It's fun watching him play. Um, the Broncos have seemed to have found a running back out of nowhere in the absence of Javonte Williams in McLaughlin.
Yeah.
So for fantasy people out there, go pick him up if he's still sitting in your free agency pool. He's probably not because you waited too long and you don't read anything. But um,
You just have to hope your other people also didn't read anything and didn't listen to this show.
yes, but he goes out and has what, like an 18-point fantasy performance, receiving touchdown. I think he had 7 carries for 60 plus yards. He was
Nine,
involved. 9 carries for 60 plus yards.
68 yards.
Okay, I mean that's a healthy average.
Yeah. 7.6. That's a great average.
Yeah. And obviously the Broncos are used to being down, so they have to run a very different style of offense. But um, I think eventually the Broncos defense is going to get a little bit better before they turn the corner here.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know how hard that corner turn is going to be. Like it might be like a 4-win season, but right now it looks like a 1-win season.
I honestly thought, because Russ has been playing well,
He
I
has,
feel like at some point he's going to get benched, though, because Sean Payton is, one, an egomaniac, and two, that is not his guy.
yeah,
He has made it very clear it's not his guy. And I feel like he's going to try and use him as a scapegoat when every single person in the world knows they're just bad.
yeah.
This was a
I think,
major revenge game too for the Jets with Nathaniel Hackett
yeah,
on their coaching staff.
yeah, and they go in there and they get it done. I'm sure Nathaniel Hackett feels some sort of vindication and I guess elation, but um, yeah, Sean Payton's got to be scratching his head right now, saying like, "What the hell do I have to do?"
Yeah.
Between letting up 70 points to the Dolphins and then letting the Jets score anything, we're talking about Zach Wilson. It's not Aaron Rodgers. It's Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
It's if you're not making this kid pick grass out of his helmet, I don't understand what it is you're doing as a coach. Like you just got to get pressure on him. The offensive line for the Jets is not good, and they weren't able to do much of anything today. Um,
Yeah.
Unfortunate that I think Russell Wilson's going to play better and still get benched, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Final. We did not talk about the Thursday game. Let's talk about the final afternoon game. Chiefs Vikings. Chiefs come away with a win, 27-20. The Vikings are just hilarious that they only play one-score games.
Dude, forever. They were 11-0 in one-score games last year. They're 0 for this year. I think
Yeah.
the team they beat, I think they won by double digits. So I can't remember who that was. Was that
Oh
last week?
boy. It was. Oh yeah, they played another team that was 0-3. Um,
Oh yeah.
who the hell was it? It wasn't. It wasn't the Bears because the Bears played the Broncos. It was. It was not the Cardinals because the Cardinals won in
Mm-hmm.
week 3. It was no, not the Giants. Oh,
Mm.
Panthers.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And their offense was actually not that good in that game either. They did not cover the spread. I'll say that game did not cover the spread because I expected them to cover the spread.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Or I'm
spread
sorry,
got
the
over
over
on.
I'm sorry, not the what the hell am I talking about? Not the spread.
Yeah.
I think they covered the spread. I'm pretty sure, but they did not hit the over.
Yeah.
God, pissed me off.
Go on.
Kirk Cousins might throw for 5,000 yards and win like 3 games.
Yeah. And have you heard about the Justin Jefferson not wanting to re-sign unless he knows where Kirk Cousins is going to be next year?
Well, let me tell you this. I had my own little theory of because Zach Moss has been so good, doing so good. We didn't even talk about him. Shout out Zach Moss today.
Shout Zach Moss.
I had my own theory of why don't we just trade Taylor over to Minnesota for Justin Jefferson? It would be perfect.
I don't. It would be Jonathan Taylor and like 2 firsts, probably. I mean,
That's
like
fine. I'll
Jonathan.
take that.
I mean,
I'll
look,
take that.
that'd be an insane tandem.
The
Insane.
Colt the Colts defense has been playing fine. I feel like we don't need that many pieces. Um, the offensive line for the Colts has been very good, especially compared to what it was last year. I mean, I
Yeah,
feel like they're kind of back to form. Somebody put them in the top 5 in their offensive line rankings.
interesting.
What you need is a big play weapon. Justin Jefferson's right there. I mean, Zach Moss is a great pickup. He was a fantastic pickup.
Yeah. I mean, maybe if you threw like Pittman in or something, you could
That's fine.
probably
I'm
save a
fine with
first.
that.
But yeah,
Josh Downs is coming out anyways. He was the leading receiver today.
Josh Downs looked solid as hell today. I saw him making at least 3 different first down grabs on third down.
Yeah.
It is clear he is the stick mover in this
Mm-hmm.
offense, and I could not be more elated for that young man. And there's a lot of positivity to be had in Indianapolis right now.
Yeah. The Chiefs, the only storyline, well, actually Kelsey was hurt. He did get hurt at some point, but he came back. But the biggest storyline was Taylor Swift didn't show up. I mean,
It's
listen,
because he got hurt, isn't it?
no,
She's
she
like,
didn't show
wait,
up before.
is
She
it going
didn't
to be
show
on
up.
national television? No, I'm not showing up.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
It probably has
I
to.
just I cannot stand it anymore. It's too much. I liked it the first game. I was like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
Second game, I was like, stop. They're cutting to her like she's the offensive coordinator.
yeah, yeah. And my biggest problem with this is I was watching. I think it was like I think it was the Cal. It was like a Cal Bears game that was on last Saturday late, and
Mhm.
maybe it wasn't Cal. I think it was USC and
Well,
somebody.
USC played Colorado last week, so that might have been the big
Yeah.
game.
Well, they brought up Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey in the broadcast, and I'm like, why? They're not even. It's not even the same states. Like, what are we doing? And literally, one guy brings him up. The other guy's like, "You had to do it. You had to do it. We had 5 minutes left in the game. You had to do it, didn't you?" And I that's when I was like, okay, she can just disappear for a while. And
I'm fine if
then
they date. I hope they fall in love and get married and I actually like Taylor Swift songs. I'm not a Swifty because I'm not those psychos on the internet.
thank God.
I'm not going after Dan Katz because he said he wanted a sex tape. He said, "I don't believe in this relationship unless we get some P and V." And people took that seriously. People
Yeah.
really thought that a guy was going to say your relationship isn't legitimate until we see some P and V. And they only cared about Taylor. Travis Kelsey's P is, that's just as important. It's
It's all about Taylor.
it's all about Taylor. It's all about Taylor.
I keep seeing all those memes on the internet. It's like the Swifties are going to be taking over the football audience and learning everything there is to know about football in 15 minutes,
Yeah,
just to sit there and tell you useless facts that you'll never need to know about these football
yeah.
players. My thing is, it would probably be useless information entirely. Like, do you know his shoe size is 16?
Who's?
Exactly. Exactly. They wouldn't even tell you. They'll just like, you should know. Come
You
on.
should know.
Come
Like, no, I'm a
on.
real football fan. I understand the game. That's
Yeah.
God. It's just
Yeah.
it's the worst. It's the worst.
Apparently, the shorts that Taylor Swift was wearing at the last game cost $700, and the sales for those shorts skyrocketed immediately following the game.
Good for people. They
Yeah.
that's what they want to spend their money on. Good for them.
Seven hundred
Shorts that they'll
dollars.
wear once.
$700. I could go to Sam's Club and just stock up for months for $700.
Yeah.
One pair of shorts. I'm out. What in the hell? I will never
That's
understand
that's
fashion.
that's capitalism for you.
I guess. I guess that's stupidity to me.
The horrors of capitalism.
Yeah, the horrors of capitalism, more like it.
She has her own economy. I mean, that's
Well, she
she
does
has the
do.
Taylor Swift economy.
Let's hold on. Let me say some nice things about Taylor Swift before everybody just tries to blow your thing up
Yeah.
and say that we're just talking shit about her.
Great music. I love her music.
She gave probably the fattest bonus check to like everybody that works for her. If I'm not,
I heard about that too.
yeah, she gave out $2 million worth of bonus checks to people that work for her.
Jesus.
Yeah, and that means like the average worker got like a $60,000 bonus.
That's life changing. I mean, that is like a life changing bonus for a lot of people.
Yeah, so I mean, you know,
We don't hate
amazing.
Taylor.
We don't
Don't
hate her.
hate Taylor.
Don't hate her. Don't hate us. Don't hate her. Don't.
But when the NFL is changing their bio to the Chiefs are 2-0 as Swifties,
Yeah,
that's enough.
it's a problem.
Stop. When you're cutting to her after every touchdown
Is
scored by
she?
either side.
Is she
Either side.
looking? Is she? What's she saying? Oh, she's
Is she
talking to
cheering?
Travis's mom. Cool. Let's ask Travis's mom about their relationship for hours.
The Donna Kelsey thing too. Very nice lady. I'm glad that she's getting all that stuff.
Yeah.
Why aren't we talking about the dad? The dad is 50% of that body
I
of
don't
of
know.
their bodies.
I'm
Why
gonna,
don't
I'm
we
gonna,
talk? I don't even know his name. I don't even know the guy's name. That's
yeah.
that's
I
I
wonder
mean,
if
come
he's
on, let's give
passed
him
on or something. Let's see.
let's give him some love. I'm gonna make t-shirts of Travis Kelsey. Ed Kelsey. Let's make t-shirts of Ed Kelsey because he deserves it too.
Ed Kelsey. Yeah. Let's see. I guess there's a documentary coming out.
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime. It's already out. I heard it was pretty good.
I guess mom and dad are divorced.
Oh, well, we can still appreciate the dad.
Yeah.
I mean, I get they're not there. Well, listen, I'm a child of split up parents. If they're adults, they can just they come together for their kid.
Yeah.
That stuff doesn't matter. Which
Uh,
I would assume I think I've seen him at games. Like I feel like we've probably seen him at games.
yeah. One of the most Googled Travis Kelsey questions: does Travis Kelsey have a father?
Oh, brother. No, he was. They were just lab specimens that were only made with the mom's DNA. That's what the mainstream media is trying to tell you.
Let's see.
Sounded like a conspiracy theorist there. The
I know.
mainstream media is trying to get you. They're trying to get you to not believe in Travis Kelsey's dad.
Yeah. Oh man.
Um, Final game, the Thursday game. Great, actually, enjoyable game to watch. I thought this was gonna be. I thought I'd be asleep by 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Bears go in and just beat the shit out of the Commanders in Washington, 40-20. DJ Moore, holy shit! I started him. I started him. I was extremely happy with it.
If you were pissed about it, I'd be upset.
Yeah.
I started him. Why did I do that? Yeah, no, I actually had the Bears losing that game, so I was a little upset about it. But that was mostly because I thought Sam Howell and the receiving core for the Commanders would be a little bit more capable, but the offensive line was giving him absolutely no help. And Sam Howell, God love him, the man was trying everything he could.
Yeah.
He's breaking tackles and making miraculous plays like his name was Eli Manning, and it just wasn't enough. They were able to come in close, and then the corners twice, from what I saw, had DJ Moore one-on-one on what looked like a curl route, and Justin Fields throws it high just enough to where DJ Moore's got a perfect beat on that thing, and the corner comes up to swat it, whiffs, and then DJ Moore's gone for a touchdown. Um,
Yeah.
that happened more than I want to say. It definitely happened twice, possibly more than that. And that accounted for like at least 100 yards of DJ Moore's terrific evening. Um, the Bears before that looked anemic, and they looked like they were allergic to winning football games.
Yeah.
Um, but they got their monkey off the back. That's their first win in the last 15 games. So, props to them, but to all the people out there who are inevitably going to be like, see, Justin Fields is a good quarterback. Shut up. Just shut up. If I want to hear something stupid, I'll listen to Colin Cowherd. All right.
He's a Colts apologist.
Yeah. Oh, he's a CJ
So
Stroud
much.
apologist right now too, but um, it's just what he does. He goes out there and says ridiculous things and then walks them
Yeah.
back during the season. Um, the Bears are a dumpster fire of an organization. I was watching Friday Night SmackDown the other night, and there's 3 people sitting in the front row holding up signs that say "Fire Ryan Poles," and it's bad when it's infiltrating other media, and
Yeah.
it was bad.
Especially if I'm not mistaken, that was in Indianapolis
Yeah.
or in Indiana, correct? Because Pat McAfee was there.
Fastlane was I think Friday Night SmackDown might have been in the state of Illinois because I know Fastlane was the next night in Indianapolis.
Oh, I'm not a big WWE guy, but I
I
know
am.
I saw stuff from Pat McAfee, and he was wearing the Colts belt, and there was
Yeah.
Colts jerseys in the back. So I thought it also transferred to another media in another state. Then it would be like, wow, that's really bad. So at least they kept it in Illinois.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, yeah. For those who don't, you should watch wrestling right now. It's getting good again. It's not quite late '90s, but it's getting there without all the unnecessary tits.
Name necessary? All that's necessary.
I think all right, fair point.
Yeah, yeah. They're always necessary. I don't care what movie it's, as long as it's not a kids movie. It's necessary to have it
Oh
in there.
God, that's true.
All right, well, that's it. Thank you. Thanks for coming on, Curtis. Audience, make sure to like and subscribe the whole dealio. Check out Tecmo Bowl. Well, we just clinched the first seed in Tecmo Bowl, so
Hell yeah.
big step up from the wild card round last year. Um, Playing Buffalo this week. Big game against Buffalo. Playing Jim Kelly. So
Oh
a
well.
real good Buffalo team, not this shitty good Buffalo team that's going on now.
Thanks for having me on, brother. It's always a good time to come on. Uh, can I do come subscribe with my thing as well?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Curtis's podcast network. You can find this AFC South show there. And during the off season, we're going to be doing some individual team based pods. And we're going to actually have some permanent names and maybe even a fancy intro or two. Who knows? But
Already pretty sick intro now.
I know I like my mouth waters every time I watch it. It's amazing. um, Shouts Danny G. But yeah, go ahead, like and subscribe to Chaotically Intolerant and Curtis's podcast network. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And at least for me, from my end, just be good people.
On our end too. Just be reasonable. I'll say be reasonable, people, so I'm not copying you. Just be reasonable.
Be reasonable. Yeah, all right.
That's the problem. People aren't reasonable on the internet anymore.
That's
Used to
true.
be a good little village. Now I can't even look at Twitter because everyone's just constantly fighting in the
Well,
comments
it
about
doesn't help.
everything.
It doesn't help that Twitter is now x.com, which just seems like it would be porn.
Well,
And
there was X videos that was on Twitter, and I think they removed them because they had X and they want to do X videos for the app X. Stupid.
you want to hear something real stupid? I had stumbled across this video. And this is just a testament of how ridiculous Disney is with their control over things. So there's these three girls, right? And they're dressed up like Star Wars characters.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of saying the word lightsaber, you can see and hear that that's what is being said, but there's a censor over it because Disney owns the word lightsaber.
That's ridiculous. That just can't. We can't have that happen. That's insanity. That somebody can trademark a word like,
It was trademarked by George Lucas, in all fairness, and he owns
which
the
is still
right.
crazy to me.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, but they inherited it when they bought George Lucas Studios or Lucas Ltd or
They're
whatever.
just there's just no reasonable like, hey, this is a word that yeah, we get he created it, but it's pretty well known in the sphere of life.
Yeah, yeah.
Like why do we care? Why?
I think Disney every now and then tries to put out new patents on different words, and the entire country of I think it was like Norway or Sweden or something, like shot down the proposal for Disney to own the words Thor and Ragnarok.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, they literally tried to own those words. And I was like, how are you going to own people's religion?
Yeah.
Like,
That's like that's like them trying to do it for Jesus.
yeah.
Like anybody who's like, oh, capitalism, they should be able to do that. What if somebody tried to trademark the name Jesus
I feel like the Catholics would have tried it already.
or Bible? Yeah, probably. That does sound right.
That
And
does
then
sound.
they'll be like, listen, we need money for the fee,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah. It's a pretty steep fee. All right.
$10
And
million.
per person.
We know we know groceries, we know inflation is up bad, but it's up for us too. All
Yeah.
those taxes that we don't have to pay. It's really expensive getting around all that.
Yeah. Excuse me while I ponder about it in my $1 million house. Oh.
All right. Great way to end. Thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe to Chaotically Intolerant and Curtis Podcast Network, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir.